For the behavior change project, I decided to observe my daughter. Child M is what we're going to call her. She is a 2-year-old female and she has no disabilities. At this time, she does not attend school or daycare. She is cared for by myself, my mother, or my stepmother, and generally she is at home with myself. Times where I have school or other obligations, she is in one of the other homes, either my mother's home or my stepmother's home. The inappropriate behavior that we are targeting is the use of the pacifier at nap time and bedtime. So we are trying to eliminate the use of the pacifier. And the reason this is so important is because the dentist has provided us with evidence that use of pacifier is linked to ear infections as well as damage to the teeth themselves. So we want to work on eliminating the use of the pacifier. She does cry without her pacifier at times where she will be sleeping. So she generally uses her pacifier 2 times a day. Nap time is usually around 1 p.m., bedtime around 8:30 p.m. And before I applied any interventions, Child M was using her pacifier 30 out of 30 days of a month for nap time and bedtime. And Child M was crying 100% of the time when she goes to sleep without her pacifier. The reason Child M is exhibiting this behavior is because she has not developed any other soothing measures when it comes to sleeping. So the pacifier is providing her with the comfort that allows her to be able to soothe herself and go to sleep. The appropriate behavior for Child M would obviously be for her to not use the pacifier, and we also do not want her to cry when she doesn't have her pacifier. So Child M will verbalize when she is tired, either by saying night-night or bed, and use a personally selected tangible reinforcer to replace the pacifier when she goes to sleep 3 out of 5 days. So that is the objective that we're trying to meet. The tangible reinforcer that she has picked was actually a toy horse from Walmart, and we conducted the experiment. I did the experiment over 10 days, and Child M was given the pacifier the first 3 days to establish the baseline. So Child M used her pacifier 100% of the time for nap time and bedtime the first 3 days. So when we applied the intervention, there was increase in her trend, which was pretty interesting to see. We did not get 100% success at this point, but we are working towards the direction of eliminating the pacifier. So as you can see by the chart, the data, I started collecting it on June 1st, and we were looking for a number of times going to sleep without the pacifier. So she didn't go to sleep without her pacifier the first 3 days. Then from June 4th to June 10th, we have pretty consistent going to bed 1 time without her pacifier. This was during nap time, so she was able to soothe herself with her toy horse consistently over the rest of the time. As you can see by the graph, we have our baseline here. Then our interventions marked by this solid line. So that's the introduction of the tangible reinforcer, which was the toy horse. And then we have the plots after intervention has been implemented. So you can see where it's pretty consistent. It goes off there. At that point, because I've had such a consistent period of times going to sleep without her pacifier, I think it would be important to implement another intervention at this point. The graph is showing a trend that is ascending, and she is going to just need some work to be able to maintain the behavior. So I think that introducing another reinforcer would be appropriate. I would choose to introduce a reinforcer that revolved around money because child M at this point is getting super interested in putting quarters into her piggy bank. That's really important for her. So I believe it would be beneficial if she was able to get a quarter every time she went to the bed without a pacifier. So talking to her about what was happening, letting her know that she would be able to get a quarter to put in her piggy bank, and then actually allowing her to do that would be the best step. Also, I know at this point I will have to completely get rid of the pacifier, so making sure she knows that the pacifier is no longer in the house would be very important. I have been contemplating what kind of measures I will take to get rid of the pacifier, and I believe the best option at this point is going to be a pacifier ceremony where we send it off and say a goodbye to pacifier. So I was thinking about putting the pacifier in an envelope and mailing it off. So that way she thinks that the pacifier has been mailed to a child who doesn't have one and can't afford one. As far as everything else goes, that is pretty much the behavioral objective project. The observation, I really did have a pretty good time doing it, and I feel like it was for the most part successful. Obviously, I could have done a little bit more and personally been a little more strict and introduced the reinforcer as I was taking the binky or the pacifier away. I didn't do that, and I think I probably should. I would have had more crying, but I think that she would have been able to overcome the use of the pacifier and learn new coping skills to soothe herself while she's sleeping. And overall, I really enjoyed this project. I think it was really nice to have a cumulative project that summed everything that we were doing up, and it just helped to make things make sense in the course.